Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're brand new here, I'm FiddlinJonny and this is my Fiddle channel and magic product review. And you know, before we start any magic product review, we do a little fiddle tune. And I'm playing around with a little melody, so let's do it. Alright, that's it. Doesn't yet have a title, something I'm just sort of playing around with. Anyway, welcome back to the channel everyone. Glad you are here. Today I am reviewing this little piece of work right here. That didn't sound right. It's Past, Present, and Future by Rick Lax. Anyway, I think you're going to want to stick around and hear more about this product release and my take on it. Hello everyone. Hey, thank you so much for being here. I know I say that during every video review, but I really do mean it. I'm grateful that you're here, so thank you. All right, I don't want to waste your time. You don't want to hear me babbling on with thank yous, but let's do Past, Present, Future by Rick Lax and released through Penguin Magic. Now, this is not a brand new release. It was released originally in 2015, so maybe I'm a little behind on doing my reviews. Okay, not really. It really was released in 2015, but this is updated in terms of the tutorial is updated. I think the packaging's updated. I don't have the original, so I don't know, but I know that they brought this back in stock. I saw it, it piqued my interest, and I bought it because I thought this might be interesting. So, what the heck is Past, Present, and Future? Here's what it really is. It's a prediction effect that is wrapped up in a tarot card reading. So for card magicians out there or mentalists out there, it's a card trick that's essentially a prediction. Let me talk about the routine and how it's structured so you understand that. You're going to pull out the cards from your tarot deck here, an Arcana tarot cards. You're going to show the backs just for starter, because you're going to, actually, let me step back for a second. As you're bringing these out and you're doing your patter, you're going to mention to your spectator or ask your spectator if they believe in fate. Doesn't matter what they say, yes, no, maybe. You'll complete that pattern and say that we're going to get back to that a little bit later. You then will show the backs of your tarot cards and show that you have 3 cards that have something written on the back of them. And it is past, present, and future. So one card has past, another one has present, and a final separate card has the word future written on it. You do not show the faces of those cards, you just simply return those back to the deck face down. You give the cards a little bit of shuffle, and then basically you put out 3 different piles of cards, one to represent past, one for present, and one for the future. You then will show the faces of the past cards, ask them to pick the one that best sort of fits their past. If they are not familiar with the meaning of tarot cards, it just doesn't matter. You'll learn how to manage that, and they'll pick one of those, and then you essentially give a reading on what does it mean for that card that they chose. You'll repeat this over for both the present and for the future one. At the end, you've got essentially the 3 cards that they have picked sitting face up on the table. You'll remind them that at the very beginning you asked them about fate and that you had written past, present, and future on 3 different cards. At this point, you can display the backs of the other cards. Notice that there's no cards written there. They'll first, or you can turn over the first card, which would be the past, and the word past is written on it. You'll turn over the present card, and present is written on the back of that. And of course, on the 3rd card, the future, and the word future is written on that. So you've got 3 cards. They're the only 3 cards that are have been written on, and they've picked them perfectly without being aware of it. So was it fate? Who knows? So that's what the routine is. At this point, if you want, they can go ahead and touch fully the past, present, and future cards, and then you can go ahead and collect your cards. So that's the effect. Let's talk a little bit about what are you going to get. So it's a classic streaming and downloadable video. It's 127 minutes in length. It's taught by Nick Locapo over there at Penguin Magic, and you're also going to get a deck of tarot cards. And in the tarot cards, it'll have the 21 cards from the Arcana deck. And if you're familiar with Arcana cards, there's actually 22 cards, but you're going to get 21 cards. If you're performing for someone who's really into tarot card reading, they may notice that the Arafont card is missing. It's fine, it's no big deal. Nick will talk about how you deal with that should you have somebody who's a real expert on it. So you'll get the download 127 minutes, so it's a great, good length of time for your tutorial, and you're going to get the tarot deck. So I think the single most important thing here for me after receiving it, watching the tutorial, the things that I would want to know are about the tutorial itself. So it's taught by Nick Locapo from Penguin Magic in the Penguin Magic Studios, so the quality is fine there. Nick's going to spend a lot of time sort of going into detail and nuance throughout the entire tutorial. This first 40 minutes is just spent going over the deck that you get, how it works, the choreography of it, and that sort of stuff. And then he'll ultimately spend time going through each one of the faces of the deck and what their meaning is, and helping with scripting of what you might say when you get, should a spectator pick any one of those cards. I really like that level of detail. I'm not familiar with tarot cards and what their meanings are, so it was helpful for me. He always gives great suggestions too of other places you can go to find the real meanings, or additional meanings, I should say, of each one of the tarot cards. I followed his recommendation. I found it actually to be really helpful. I think I went to tarotcard.com or tarot.com. Very helpful on the meaning of the cards. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the routine itself. One of the things that is important in this routine is the choreography. Now, it's all very simple, but it's sort of like, if you want to sort of the nuance and maximizing to make sure that it just always goes well, is make sure you get your choreography right. And Nick spends the time on this really well, explains it quite simply so that a beginner can really get and understand what they need to do. And as I talk about the choreography, I think it suggests like, oh, well, that sounds like there's more choreography than I really want to know, or is it hard to remember? The answer is no. What I'm really talking about is the subtlety of how you make sure you put your cards into the tuck case. When you pull them out, sort of the specificity of where you hold the cards. Why is it more important to hold them from maybe the bottom rather than from the top, type of a thing? When you're displaying them to your spectator, what's the best way to display them? That sort of stuff is what I'm talking about, which is really sort of detail and nuance. And I appreciate that level of detail. I would also point out that on the tutorial, Nick Locapo will go through part of the routine, and you get the spectator perspective. He'll go through it a second time, but you'll get an over the shoulder perspective, which I really liked. I loved the pacing of it. I loved the detail. And I actually personally found that over the shoulder perspective was really helpful. So those are some of the sort of things that you're going to get here in the tutorial. Also, I think I touched on briefly, if you don't have any idea about what tarot cards mean and stuff, you're going to get that level of detail and scripting here as well. Ultimately, how is the gimmick? I'm going to bring this up to the screen so you can see. Let's start with the tuck case. I think the tuck case on this looks awesome. I am not embarrassed to carry this around with me, and when I pull it out, folks will go, oh yeah, that's a tarot card. I will also point out that on the back, you sort of have this little cheat sheet. For the 21 cards that are there, you will see what, in one word, what the meaning is for that card. It is essentially your prompt that should remind you, like, oh, this is the essence of what this card means should my spectator pick it. So, and you can have that sitting right in front of you. They will not notice it, and it's a little bit of a prompt for you. But that is the tuck case. I actually really like the tuck case. Let's look at the cards real quickly. I think the cards look really nice. The back design's great. These appear to be on high quality stock, similar to a bicycle stock. I don't know that they're actually bicycle stock. I suspect they are not, but they feel like regular playing cards, so they handle like real normal playing cards. The faces, I think, look really nice as well. So you can see, I won't go through all of the faces, but they're really, I think, very nice cards. And you'll also be able to show and notice that on these cards, you'll have one that says future. You'll have one that says present. And you'll have one that says past. All right. So, and as I show those, I think the thing that you will need to know, do you have to use a force? No. Is there a force? No. It is a total free choice, which makes it that much easier, I think, to perform, especially for the beginner. So I think that aspect is really nice. Your takeaway here on the gimmick. The gimmick's a good quality. The stock is really nice that it's on. It should last a long time. I will add, if I haven't mentioned it already, it is gimmicked. And because it's gimmicked and it uses sort of how they are gimmicked, is a classic way that if you're a magician for any length of time, you have cards that are gimmicked this way. Because they're gimmicked that way, they'll eventually wear out. You can do what you need to fix it yourself if you'd like to, or just purchase a brand new deck. Nick will spend a little bit of time talking about how you can sort of like bring them back to life so that the gimmick works properly. So just important information for you on the gimmick. But it's a good solid gimmick and should last as long as any sort of deck of cards would last based upon how much handling of those cards that you do. All right, I do want to talk about resetting the deck, because once you have performed the routine, you will need to reset the deck. The nice thing is that you can reset the deck in front of your spectator after you've completed the routine, and it takes all of maybe 5 seconds. It appears as if you're just collecting the cards and getting them to put them back in the box, but what you're doing is resetting the deck so that the next time you open up the tuck case, it's already set up and you're ready to go. Easy to do, quick learn, no strong memory work with it, but I do want folks to be aware of that aspect of it. I like also that there are real life performances on this towards the end, and you get to see Nick when he's doing these performances for people. You see him resetting the deck right in front of folks, and it's clear folks just have no idea that the deck is being reset in front of them. Let's talk about what is the skill level for this. This is beginner level. There's no difficult moves. If you know how to pull cards out of a tuck case, place them onto a table, do a false shuffle, any false shuffle, you're ready to do this. Or an appearance that you're mixing up the cards, that's all. So it is definitely a beginner level skill level. From a pros, I think it's easy to do. I think the cards look beautiful. They're durable and they should last a long time. I think the structure of the routine is done well, so it heightens the effect at the end. I like that it has live performances on here. And also it's a piece of magic. Sometimes we have releases like wallets in particular that are really predominantly towards guys who are doing it, so it's a little bit gender exclusive. This is not. It doesn't matter what gender you identify as. It will work for anyone, and it's not restrictive in that manner. Let's talk about the cons. The entire deck cannot be handed out. Now, of course, the structure of the routine is done so that, like, why would anyone want to see the cards? They would never suspect that they're gimmicked. But at the very end, the cards that they can touch are the 3 cards that they chose, the past, present, and future cards. That's no problem, but you would not hand them the deck to shuffle or touch because it is gimmicked, and they would probably notice what the gimmick is at that point. I'll also add, and this might be a con for those who are really into tarot cards, in that it doesn't have the Hierophant card in it. I don't find that an issue. I'm not into tarot cards. Don't believe, actually, that they have a mystical component to it, but that doesn't matter. And Nick will talk about the 3 different types of performers that, the 3 different types of spectators you may have, and the range is essentially from someone who doesn't believe in tarot at all or even know what it is to somebody who's really into the tarot card. And he talks about the different ways you approach each one of those different types of spectators, which I thought was really, really helpful. All right. I think who's this going to be best for, or who might like this? I think it's really great for intimate performance, close-up, small group type of a performance. I think it's going to fit the character of someone who's really sort of into a mystical type of presentation or non-traditional card magic, I think those are going to be the folks that like it. I probably wouldn't use this for parlor or stage because it's much more of a small group type of a presentation or even a one-on-one type of a presentation. The cost on this in the United States is $49.95. Now I'll have to admit I have a little bit of sticker shock at this price point because at kind of you're getting a standard, not a standard deck of cards, a specialty deck of cards that all of us have this type of gimmick cards if we've been doing magic for any amount of time that we might normally spend $10 to $20 for. However, I believe the price point probably has some justification given that the artwork on these is quite beautiful. They're not a standard size deck, and that those are elements that are going to add more cost to the deck of cards. I think if you're going to perform it with any regularity, I think the price point just makes sense. If you perform it infrequently, maybe not. But I think you ultimately sort of make that decision in terms of what's the price point that works best for you. All right, that's all I have on this. I hope it's helpful for you. If you've purchased the original version, let me know what your thoughts are, things that you've learned over time. If you purchased this version, you've gone out and performed it, let me know what your experience is. And if none of those apply, just leave a comment anyway, just to say hello. I really do appreciate that. Also, it is free to hit that like button. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. And everyone who has already subscribed, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope these are helpful for you. I wanted to create a channel that I wanted when I was looking for reviews, and I hope that I'm hitting that mark for you. I know that I ramble on and sometimes give more detail than other folks do, but I do hope that that's helpful. All right, thank you for being here. My name's FiddlinJonny, and remember to keep fiddling around with your magic. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.